I'm gonna put the link in the link to the post. Jesus. In the chat, if you guys want to tweet it out or put it on Facebook or whatever you guys do.
You start singing every time you go live, like immediately.
I don't know what that is.
Technology.
I do love technology. It's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive setup here. That's the blog post. This is the hold on. You're right. I do. I wish I could sing. That'd be really impressive. The second link is the actual event page itself.
You've got musical talent in your family, so...
Yeah, it just missed me entirely. It just happens to all be concentrated on my little brother.
Well, you're better at drinking vodka than him.
That's true. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and bury the lead. I have a better vodka drinker than you.
You should go live next time and then have him pop up in the background and just start singing your theme song for going live.
First things first, I need a theme song. Let's get that squared away right now. We're going to be doing that. Let me get a theme song. Let me throw this Facebook post up and we'll get started. Ashley, do you have any questions?
No, I'm good right now.
Have you listened to the other podcasts?
I can lie and say yes.
First of all, ow, that hurts. And now that's being broadcast on our site, so I'm glad everyone knows that now. Well, it's like this one, like this. We do this every week. It's something I started just now, so we'd have content. It's really lighthearted. It's really fun. We don't take anything too seriously on here. So any jokes you want to make about any of these topics, please do. If you want to make fun of me, go ahead. If you want to make fun of Chad, that tends to go over better with the audience. I'm just saying.
It's pretty easy to do.
It's. I like already, Chad. I'm really glad you put it in. I have someone to just ruthlessly mock you with. Someone else. This is really good that this wasn't up. Like we weren't doing this when we lived together. Like that would have been. What's going on here? Let's go. All right, share. Any second now.
No, had we been potting when we lived together, it would have been just pretty much trolling each other for every ridiculous thing that happened every 30 minutes. It would have been awful. We would have hated each other. We would have killed each other.
I don't think the podcast would have been the catalyst for actual death. I think it would have made it interesting at worst. I don't think anyone would have died. People could have died just living together. All right, we're getting started. Welcome back. Oh, shit. Hold on, before we get started. Ashley,
that one,
everyone shut up. Everyone shut up. That's getting cut. Oh, I know you're listening to this later. Cut that part out. Ashley, will you send me your Twitter name and anything else you want me to plug?
Yeah, wait, how do I...
There should be a chat window on the right.
Sorry, I'm like challenged when it comes to this.
It's fine. Let's see, you're in the chat, so I'm not sure how you can. If you look at the toolbar on your left, there's a little blue box that says chat.
Okay.
Click on that. The chat window will open.
I
You
got
can see the links I shared, and awesome. Anything else you want to plug, a site or anything particular?
People care.
All right. I will plug those things. I guess Jason and or Chad, do you guys have other things to plug? I doubt it.
Nope.
Nope.
Okay. I'm glad there's one ambitious person on the podcast, and it's none of the three of us.
I mean, you can plug Bourbon Brain Trust if you want.
I'm not doing that. You get to invite me to write my pro wrestling fees, so I'm
Dude,
not doing
I told you on this podcast you could do it.
Yeah, you did.
Or
And
you
yet
can
there's
leave
been
that
no,
in.
there's
That
been
is
no
a standing
follow, there's
invitation
been
open to
no
the public.
follow-up email. There's no like, hey man, we'd love for you to write this. No, there's none of that. I don't want to hear it. All right.
So are you
writing
plugging
today.
your comic book podcast?
I haven't, because we haven't started that yet. I'm not gonna plug it yet. I'm gonna plug it once we start it though.
Of course.
Sports and nerdy. It's where my life intersects.
It's gonna be a hell of a niche there.
I'm gonna fight you for that later. All right. Welcome back to Doogie Podcast. We're back with your weekly hangover. Only 3 left this year. It's kind of sad. As always, I'm your host Daniel Palmer. We're going to talk about the week's sports stories, a little lighthearted twist. Before we get started, I want to just give a great shout out and a welcome to our new partner at the UGA Vault. If you're a fan of Georgia football, and you are because you're listening to this, you should go ahead and give them a shot. Go to dudeyoucrazy.net on the internet, and on the left side you'll see a link to their homepage. It's a great app that has highlights, interviews, pretty much Georgia history in the palm of your hand. You can find them in the iTunes store. Just search UGA Vault, and we'll be hearing more from them going forward. All right, down to the podcast. I am joined, as always, by Chad Floyd, Chad_Floyd on the Twitter. What's up, Chad?
Surviving.
Surviving in advance. March Madness in August. I like to hear it. Also next to him in my Google Plus screen, Jason Smith. Jason is a Smith on Twitter. What's up, Jason?
Not much, man. Just, Blake Bortles is a viable NFL quarterback, and I've had 3 cups of coffee. It's a great morning.
Oh, so you think that about Blake Bortles, which means you're probably already drunk. That's good to hear. Lastly, but not leastly maybe not a word. I'm not sure about that one. We've got our newest member of the Dude You Crazy family. First time on the podcast, Ashley Barnett. What's going on?
Nothing much. Sorry, I had a long night, so I don't really want to show my face to the world yet.
Ashley, as you can tell, we're not ashamed about that. I shouldn't be showing my face to the world ever, but I bombard them weekly. This is my little act of civil disobedience. You can find Ashley at CABarnett13 on Twitter, and you can read your stuff on our site, of course, and at ashleybarnett.net. As always, we're brought to you guys by dudeyoucrazy.net, your home for Georgia football in particular, SEC sports in general, and lots of funny, interesting things. All right, let's get started because we're all tired, and it sounds like we all had a night. We're going to power through this one. We're going to start off with Georgia alum Aaron Murray. His first game as a Chief. He had nearly had the dreaded, did not play coach's decision. He got in late for a couple of kneel downs. We'll start with the new kid. Ashley, what do you think of his opportunities he got, and what do you think this means for him going forward?
Well, it's probably safe to say that he could not really mess up that play by just taking a knee. There's no 3-yard line, red zone, or incomplete passes or anything. I don't know. I'm kind of iffy on Aaron Murray. The fact that he's actually competing for that third-string spot against Tyler Bray, it's just, I don't know. I really don't. I'm not very confident in what he has going into the future. And their backup quarterback, going blank on the second string.
Chase Daniels.
Yes, and the fact that he already has NFL experience, he's the only one with the NFL experience. I just don't see Aaron Murray actually getting to that second string spot if he makes it to the third string spot.
That noise you hear is the sizzling of my flesh from that burning hot take. I love it. We've got 3 snaps for Aaron Murray taking knees, and he's missing the team. Jason Smith, do you have an opposite view? Because that just impressed me. That made me a little sad. I'm not going to lie.
Palmer, you always love to piss me off randomly. It's your favorite thing to do. Let me tell you a thing that pisses me off in the world is that tall guys who suck get precedence over short guys who are actually good at quarterback. It's like, can anyone tell me why we're all of a sudden like Chase Daniel is a reliable option or Tyler Bray is the hot third-string quarterback for the Chiefs? It's like really and legitimately, if Aaron Murray were 6'6", Aaron Murray would be like the most prized quarterback commodity in the world. But because he's like, I don't know what he is, 6'2"? How tall is Aaron Murray?
He's 6 foot. I think.
Yeah, I was going to say he's 5'11", right?
Yeah.
So if Aaron Murray were not, quote unquote, the only reason Aaron Murray got drafted is because he's quote unquote the next Drew Brees. It's like I really wish they would, like the NFL would calm down with the whole you have to be 6'4" to even play quarterback. I don't think it's a thing that's necessarily. It's one of those things where you don't know if it's actually proven itself out over time, or if it's just the NFL has always been so prejudiced against short people that we haven't given them the shot really to show that they're good at quarterback.
I hear you. I'm going to go ahead and put myself over here for a second. I've done a little work in the NFL in my past. We lost Chad.
Yeah, we did.
We upset him.
Chad, come back to us. I've done a little work with the NFL in the past. I've talked to people in personnel departments. The way NFL depth charts work in the quarterback position generally is you have your starter, you have your second teamer, and then you have your third guy who's going to be a developmental guy or project. Because Tyler Bray and Chase Daniels both have vested time in the league, I have problems in my end seeing them both make the team. I think that the fact that they were both, kind of battling it out on was Thursday night speaks well for Aaron Murray. I think that him taking a knee was good. I think it was some strong knees. As someone who watched Eli Manning fall taking a snap one time, like I'm taking shots. Ashley, welcome to the podcast. As someone who watched that happen, I think that successfully taking the snap, taking the 2 steps back, reading the defense, and dropping to that knee speaks a lot for his future as an NFL clipboard holder, at least for this year. I think that also he fits Andy Reid's schemes better than a Tyler Bray. Tyler Bray's one of those big arm guys, and Murray's more of a West Coast prototypical quarterback, and I think that that's going to be the place he fits. Look for him to get more playing time in the 8, in the 2-3, in the position weeks 2 and 3. It's going to be interesting because of the contract dispute right now with Alex Smith, how much time they actually give him. He's asking for a lot of money, and if you watched him play last night, or Thursday night, he did not earn those monies.
Can I tell you one thing, though, Palmer?
Yes, tell me one thing.
You know who's laughing really hard right now? It's the NFL. Because you know the thing no one's talking about after this week? We're all talking about Blake Bortles, and we're talking about if Aaron Murray's going to start, and we're talking about Johnny Manziel tonight. No one is talking about Ray Rice anymore, and that the NFL wins.
You know why I like you, Jason? You know why I like you, honestly?
What?
You get transitional material, and you give it to me, and I appreciate it.
I hook you up.
Let's transition, hard stop, onto the preseason football as a whole. We've seen we've seen most of the teams play at this point, and it's kind of interesting. Every year we kind of get sucked into preseason football because we're all football junkies, and like you say, now we're legitimately discussing if Blake Bortles has an NFL future. Spoilers, he doesn't. Jason, did you watch a whole lot of preseason football?
I will admit that I tried to watch preseason football. I got excited about it. I will watch the Titans tonight. I'll admit that as a Titans fan. Sadly, I will watch them play tonight. One way, and this is another way that like fantasy football I think is changing the NFL forever. My friends and I do a fantasy football league in which the draft order of our league is determined by picking a player and whoever that player's preseason performance. And so if he does well during the preseason, you get the number 1 draft pick. If he sucks in the preseason, you're drafting last. So we actually have to watch the preseason because we actually have skin in the game. So my preseason pick is Bishop Sankey, and so I will be watching very closely to see if Bishop Sankey does what I think he will do, which is get the majority of the carries during the preseason and hopefully score a lot.
Okay, I have a whole podcast in front of me. I'm looking at the rundown, but I have so many questions about that. I'm going to Ashley before I go back. We're coming back to this. Don't you dare.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Ashley, I caught the Bengals-Chiefs game. Did you catch Matt Scott vomiting twice and throwing a touchdown pass?
I saw it on SportsCenter. I didn't watch the game, but I saw it on SportsCenter. That was, rather interesting.
It's like a real-life Willie Beeman. Like, if any given Sunday is going to start happening on my television, I'll watch preseason football. Did you catch any of the preseason games so far?
I'm not really big on preseason because if it doesn't count, why am I really going to watch?
Oh, that's a refreshing...
It is.
Actual human perspective. As a degenerate gambler and a subhuman, I watched way too much preseason football so far. I'm currently recording the preseason replays that are running on NFL Network right now, and I'll be watching those later today because I'm a junkie and I have a serious problem, and I'm okay with that. All right. Wow. Ashley, you made me feel bad about myself twice already in this podcast. You're gonna fit in great. You're gonna fit in great. Before I move on, all right, Jason. So
lay it on me, man.
Whose idea was this?
Whose idea?
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
The preseason draft thing?
What else would I be talking about?
Okay, well, the idea came from the 2 commissioners. We have 2 commissioners of the league because they both technically started the league at the same time. It came from them, and it's honestly it's a much better idea than drawing out of a hat or determining it from last year's standings. The one thing we do our league is kind of make it take it in the way that if you win the league, you get to pick your draft spot next year. So the guy who won the league usually is going first no matter what. But I mean, it's fun though. It's a way to, in the same way that Ashley was saying that things don't count, so why would you watch? It gives you a way to make the preseason count. And so we're into it. We end up watching preseason games and having pretty good fun with it.
here's a big for those people like me who watch it not because our draft order depends on it, but because we have a problem. That first half under bet is a real good preseason bet. A lot of teams aren't showing a lot of things early. That first half under is a strong bet, hypothetically, if gambling were legal. I'm going to move on right now, though I really want to talk about this. First of all, the fact you have two commissioners and there's been no coup d'etat yet for one of the commissioners to take over the league makes me question the integrity of the league. Jason, you wrote this yesterday. You wrote this today. This is probably the biggest NCAA news that we're going to get this year. The O'Banion lawsuit, NCAA fell. Give the people a primer on what that was, why it matters, and where do we go from here?
It was a suit brought by former UCLA basketball players as well as a number of plaintiffs from various, mainly college basketball and football. And you're pointing at yourself. Were you on the O'Banion case?
I'm in the game. I added my name to the as a class action guy. Of course, I'm gonna get like $400. Of course, I did. Go ahead, sorry.
So one of the plaintiffs is on the podcast.
Oh, inside information.
Yeah. And so it was a suit brought that was disputing the fact that NCAA players ought to be paid for the use of their likenesses in video games and in other formats. Why it matters is a couple of things. Number one, you can read a couple of our articles that are up now. If you go on the internet, you will hear either that the NCAA is dead and all things that are good and moral about sports are gone, or you're going to hear that the NCAA literally doesn't have to do anything. And it's kind of somewhere in between. The NCAA the athletes now can get paid for their likenesses. The judge was absolutely spot on about that. He made that very clear. He capped the number at $5,000, which is mind-boggling to me. I don't know why he did that. I imagine that when this case goes to the Supreme Court, and it will go to the Supreme Court, that will be something that's up for grabs. Basically, what the ruling laid out was that it eviscerated every defense that the NCAA was giving for amateurism and for not paying college athletes. The most pertinent of which was that consumer demand would drop if we paid athletes. And the judge, you can read the quotes in the 5 must-read quotes article that I put up this morning. The quote from the judge on that is absolutely awesome. There is absolutely no evidence to support the fact that consumer demand would go down. And at one point, he called Mark Emmerich's theories implausible, which in justice speak is basically like a slap to the face. But it's a historic ruling in that it doesn't force the NCAA to pay college athletes. It doesn't force anyone to do anything. But when the Big Five get autonomy, or now that they have autonomy, the Big Five are completely allowed to pay athletes now.
Well, there it was, a primer on what has happened and what it means. For the record, the Ed O'Banion lawsuit isn't the one that's going to demand the EA payback royalties. They've already agreed to when they decided to settle last year out of court. And I think that's what's going to head here. Is there going to be some sort of settlement? If I get a second check, that'd be great. But I know that the country played as Columbia University left guard number 66 for at least 3 years in NCAA football. I've seen pictures of me holding a Heisman Trophy. I know that I'm out there. I know I made a difference in people's lives. I'm ready to be enumerated as such.
Fun fact, do you know where the first college football slush fund was to pay college players?
I do not.
Columbia University in the
really?
1800s. Oh yeah, the first slush fund ever set up for college football players was Columbia University in the 1800s.
That's nuts. It's so funny. I had a recruit once. We were walking down the street in New York, and I was walking him somewhere. It's like one of those free periods, and a booster who I knew who had coached at the school was walking down the street and dropped like an envelope full of money, and I helped him up and helped him hand him his money. And the kid was like, "I thought you were getting paid." I was like, "No, this isn't that school. This is not where like you run into, like this is legitimately one of my teammates' dads, and he dropped his wallet and I helped him out. Like this is not what you thought it was." But hearing that means that maybe it was what he thought it was, and maybe I should have like, "Oh, here's my wallet. I didn't know I dropped it." Ashley, do you have any hope for the future of quote unquote scholastic athletics?
I mean, obviously this helps. I went to an SEC school, so obviously it helps my school. But at the same time, these little schools just don't have a snowball's chance. And can I say that word on here?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
These smaller schools don't have a snowball's chance in hell. So it's just, like I said, it obviously it benefits my school. at the same time, like these little schools they're never going to be able to, get to like the Big Fives level.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because it benefits, like you said, it benefits the football program at your school. The idea of scholastic athletics, these are student athletes who aren't employees of the school, it pretty much submarines that idea. Like, oh no, they're just here to make us money. Like, you can't. Once they lost the Benning lawsuit, and once they granted the Power 5 autonomy, it kind of was the NCAA tacitly agreeing, like, okay, we recognize education might not be our number one goal, maybe. So I think this is the first step in what, like you said, the Power 5 kind of establishing themselves something outside of the NCAA. But I think you hit the nail on the head that it's both good and bad. Maybe it's good in the short term as far as ticket revenue and players coming in, but this is only a formalization of the structure that's already in place. Like, it's not going to be that much of a different. Like, people are saying, well, now the big guys have so much more advantages. They already did. That's why they're the big guys. That's why Texas is Texas and Georgia is Georgia and Ole Miss is Ole Miss, because they're not Quinnipiac and they're not Columbia and they're not Wake Forest. Sorry, Wake Forest. I needed third school. Jason, go ahead.
Well, interesting thing there, and I'm glad Ashley brought that up, is that I said the cap at 5,000 was mind-boggling. The only thing that I've seen on the internet, and this to jog my mind on this, part of the reason that the cap is set at such a low number is one of the big things in this case that the judge really laid into the NCAA on was their claim that keeping student athletes from getting compensated promoted competitive balance between the leagues. What the judge said, though, and it's a startling passage, it's in the quote piece I put up this morning, is that actually the NCAA has done nothing to rein in spending, and that's actually made the competitive balance ridiculously off because, as Ashley was saying, the big schools just, the little schools have no chance of competing with schools like Texas and Georgia and Ole Miss and all these other schools who have big budgets. Well, what the cap does, apparently, is that the cap will actually help to restore some of that balance because it won't let other schools say, we'll throw you $10,000 if you come play for us, and that, you can't get in a bidding war for players, basically.
Yeah, right. Sure.
Well, absolutely. Oh, no, I get you. But in principle, what it's saying is that the base amount of compensation for all schools will be equal across the board, which allows, at least in principle, some of these small schools to say, we're going to compensate you the exact same amount, and then maybe you can start selling things like, hey, our education is better than this school's education, and we have NFL players. I don't know. That's ideally, in a perfect world, Vanderbilt would be able to compete more now.
Oh, Vanderbilt, guys. That's so cute. I love that we both threw in Ole Miss into the big school conversation to appease our new podcaster.
We did.
That won't be happening again,
okay.
Ashley.
You can hate on Ole Miss. I do it all the time.
All right, we're at the halftime portion of the show. We do a hypothetical. I usually have more fun with it because I can make fun with Chad, but I'll see if I can make fun of Ashley. This week's hypothetical. Would you rather live 50 years in the future or 50 years in the past? We'll start with Jason.
50 years in the past.
Really? Defend it.
Let's see. Well, 50 years in the past would put me, I'm trying to do the math here in my head right now. That would put me dangerously
64.
close to 64, right? Okay. That means that I would live through the beginning of the Vince Dooley era and then witness Georgia win a national championship with Herschel Walker when I'm very old.
There's more to life than college football, right? Like,
This is
just
on a
like
sports podcast Saturday.
Fair
It's
enough.
not even noon where I am. Are you kidding me? Like,
Sorry.
I have a picture of Herschel Walker literally hanging over my head right now.
I can see that.
There he is. I would get to go witness that. I would get to go see that with my own eyeballs. I would love to live 50 years in the past.
All right,
And I'll get
Ashley,
to
same
on
question.
ice and all great things.
Okay, all right, buddy. Old is better. I get what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Ashley, 50 years in the past or the future?
Well, I guess I'm going to copy Jason because I believe 50 years ago, Ole Miss actually went undefeated with we have 2 national titles from that era. So, and Archie played. So, all right, I'll go 50 years in the past just to see Archie play.
Palmer was trying to make fun of Ole Miss so bad, and here we are dropping right into the Ole Miss glory days. We're just talking Ole Miss all day on this podcast.
He made it too easy.
The Black Bears have made their presence very well known.
Okay,
Just
no.
know, I've always get the Black Bears bullet to shoot. Don't push me.
I still think it should have been Admiral Akbar. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know. Personally, I voted for the Land Shark, and if you go everybody does the fins up, that should have been our mascot. The Black Bears are stupid. I really hope they get rid of that.
I gotta go future, guys. I'm sorry. Aside from the obvious social unrest of being a black person in the '60s, not the best place in the world to be. Um, I think that look at how far we've come in technology in the last 50 years. Like, who knows what I'm gonna get in 50 years? 2064 is gonna be something crazy. Um, um, maybe there'll be cybernetics that we live forever. I don't know. Maybe I can play football again. I don't know. I don't know what's coming next. I'm excited for it. For my money, the world gets better as time goes on, and as long as the world's still here in 50 years, shout out to Ebola and nuclear warfare. I got to roll with the future.
You can end up in the Hunger Games if you got.
I get up in the Hunger Games, or I can end up with a hover skateboard. So you tell me, hoverboard. I'm willing to risk the Hunger Games for hoverboard. The fact that you know what the Hunger Games are, I guess it just means I'm old. I guess it just blows my mind.
I've seen movies.
I know. I recognize that there are movies. I just haven't seen it. Next topic. Kevin Durant left Team USA this week. On the heels of Paul George's injury and lots of other people, hot first-round players missing the FIBA World Cup. Looks like Kevin Durant's going to be taking his talents back to Oklahoma City, citing rest, needing rest, and being burned out from the season. He did have a long season. He played to the Western Conference Finals. Ashley, do you have any problem patriotically or basketball-wise with Kevin Durant bouncing?
No, because if I saw that leg injury in person, I probably would not want to play for a good while. I've broken my arm before, and that's not fun. I can only imagine what it's like breaking a leg and popping out of the skin. So if I saw that, I would be like, yeah, I need to get that image out of my head before I hit the court again.
That's 100% fair. Kevin Durant was right there when it happened. He saw it happen. He turned and ran to the bench. That's 100% accurate and a great take on that. Jason, do you have a problem? Are you gonna hot sports take us here?
No, not at all.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
I'm just gonna skip Bayless and be like, anyone should want to play for America. I don't know what my day, people weren't afraid. No, I'm definitely not. I mean, Kevin Durant has every right to do this. Honestly, I'm surprised Kevin Durant is the only one we've heard about doing this. I'm surprised that Coach K even has a team anymore of professional athletes. I think, oddly enough, this kind of thing is the place where amateur athletes can do well, and it actually might be entertaining to see amateur athletes try to win on the world stage. I don't know what that'll look like, but I recall, as I've already mentioned, the Miracle on Ice. That's one of the most historic events in American history because it was, low-class college kids that came in and beat one of the best teams in the world. I would love to see some young up-and-coming American basketball players be a little ragtag bunch of patriots for America in the FIBA World Cup. So I'm fine with it. I'm really excited to see what happens.
I recognize the arguments that he's tired, that the injuries, that maybe it's time for amateur athletes. Maybe we proved our point from '92 that we had the best basketball players, and maybe it's time to kind of take the throttle off. But I'm going full heel. If America calls on you to serve, be it on the basketball court or anywhere else, you have to do that as your duty as an American. You have to. I think him backing out now, especially as we're in the last month before the game starts, I think it's important that he be there, that he be a leader. He's the one guy from the Olympics who's going to come back and lead this squad. His abandonment of his team is an abandonment of failure as an American. And he's being replaced with Rudy Gay, who we've proven over the last few years is terrible at basketball. All right. Staying in the basketball world, Kevin loves going to Cleveland. So in the deal that's been announced and bandied about and argued about for weeks now, it's kind of out in the open. He's going to Cleveland for first-round draft pick Andrew Wiggins, last year's first-round draft pick Anthony Bennett, and he'll be going there to join Kyrie Irving and LeBron James in a new sort of Big East. Jason, does this make them the odds-on favorite in the Eastern Conference?
You know I have to Google everything with the NBA, right? Like, I have no idea. I hope it does.
Kevin is very good at basketball.
Yeah,
Kyrie Irving is last year's All-Star Game MVP. Andrew Hall is calling me. LeBron James is the best basketball player on the planet. Even though he stopped eating carbs this summer and looks like a skeleton now, which is a little creepy.
Yeah.
That's basically where we are. So
here's what I'll say about it, though. I hope they are, because I think I am the most NBA total novice here, and like I am drawn into the story of LeBron winning a championship for Cleveland. Like, I have seen the Michael Jordan over Elo highlights enough times to know that I would love to see Cleveland come through and actually win a championship. So I absolutely hope they are the odds-on favorites. the only thing that I would say is that like I've watched Spurs play in playoff games and know that like those old dudes can play as a team, and I want to see if LeBron and K-Love and Kyrie can play as a team. You know, like
Yeah.
if that can happen, then great. The other thing I'll say is that I was really disappointed because I thought for a moment, a half a second there when the trade rumors first started, and I guess this is really stupid to believe, I thought that the Timberwolves might be dumb enough to trade K-Love without getting Andrew Wiggins, and the thought of a Wiggins, Kyrie Irving, K-Love, LeBron James all on the same team would have been exceptional. But that's not going to happen, and I'm disappointed by that. But I hope that Cleveland is the odds-on favorite. That's all.
Yeah, I think this is one of those situations where it really points out the differences in the sports. Football's great when there's a lot of parity and everyone's kind of up in the air. Basketball's traditionally been best when there's one transcendent team that even the casual fan gets roped into. It's been the Heat for the last 4 years, and for everyone who says, oh, they failed twice, making 4 NBA Finals in 4 years is not failure. I'm sorry. It's not 4 rings, but it's definitely not
LeBron.
I'm coming to you next. Hold your horses, Ashley. I promise you I'm coming. Ashley, you have an opinion. So LeBron left. LeBron basically orchestrated this move to Cleveland. He didn't mention Wiggins or Bennett in the letter that he wrote. Is he the most powerful man in basketball right now? And is this collusion, or is this just good being a good businessman?
I don't know if it's good being a good businessman, but everybody just seems to be right up LeBron's butt, I guess I'll say. I don't know. I'm not big on LeBron. I mean, yeah, he's a great player. I'm not going to deny him that, but I don't know. I kind of like to root for the underdog, and the fact that LeBron, you know, they went to the championship. They didn't win, and all of a sudden he's like, all right, well, I'm just gonna head back to my hometown now and just see what I can do with them. I don't know. I would love to see Wiggins. I know isn't he with the Timberwolves now?
He on August 23rd when the
not that he has a chance with them, but how funny would it be if they just like actually like made something of themselves this upcoming season and beat Cleveland?
I think that a Cleveland being upset by Minnesota in Minnesota would be a great story for Minnesota for that one day. But the fact is, you're still in Minnesota. Your point guard can't shoot the basketball. He has the worst shooting percentage for a player who's made X number of starts in NBA history. I love Ricky Rubio, just can't shoot. I think it's going to be interesting to see, like you said, do the casually step up and become that transcendent team. And I, for one, am for the kind of way he did it, just because in any business you kind of want to find the best situation for yourselves. And for us to kind of like hold that over his head it feels a little disingenuous when if someone offered me more money to write for them and podcast for them, I would miss you guys, but I'd leave. I don't know if that's true or not. I just like saying things like that. Last topic. It's a fun topic because it's funny to me. Tiger Woods missed the cut. So, in all of his injuries and all the things that happened to him, historically, Tiger Woods has pulled out before he's missed cuts at majors. This weekend shows the first time he's missed a cut after the back injury and after being assaulted by his former wife. Ashley, first of all, are you a golf person? Second of all, do you think that Tiger Woods is done? Is this a wrap for Tiger? Should we stop covering him the way we do?
I watch golf. It's not necessarily my favorite thing, but I watch it. I don't know. My thoughts on Tiger is he should have never cheated because his game has not been the same since this whole scandal came out and he got that divorce. I think his ex-wife was his good luck charm, and he probably should have never cheated.
That's fair. I will say this. No one has ever brought up the fact that Ewan attacked him. She assaulted him with a golf club. And it's something like, as I was talking, I was like, wait a second, why wasn't this a bigger deal? Like, why wasn't the fact that he was actually assaulted? No one ever brought that up. I thought it was really interesting. I think the assault, being attacked with your weapon of trade, it might have a psychological... Oh, wow. Now we're going to the deserted defense. You sound like Stephen A. Smith. Was it agents of provocation? I believe, Jason.
We got to figure out how you could have prevented. How you could not. There's a provocation thing we got to consider here.
If you cheat on your Swedish hot supermodel wife with 18+ women that are half her level, Yeah, you deserve to get hit on the head a few times.
See? And there it is. There it is, the provocation lines. I'm about to suspend you for a week, like ESPN did. Goodness gracious.
Mute button.
I'm of the school where no one puts their hands on anyone else because we're all grown-ups, and there's no reason to put your hand on anyone else. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy.
Well, he did put his hands on someone else, though.
You know what? If I had the sound effects going that Andrew downloaded, that'd get you a hi-hat right there.
She's also, although we do have to say, Tiger Woods' wife is the only one in that family who could ever use a driver. Boom! Burn on Tiger Woods.
No,
joke.
She hit him with a 7-iron, and the joke is that no one can hit a 7-iron except for Tiger Woods. That's the joke. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy.
I see.
Jason, is the Tiger Woods era over? Like, this was, for what it's worth, for the run he had, it was the most transcendent athlete, maybe of our time, definitely in the history of golf. Most dominant and transcendent. Is it over? Is it a wrap? As the back injuries and the missed cuts and everything else, has it become too much for us to say maybe we're waiting on Tiger to come back, or is he really done?
Yeah, no, he's definitely done.
Wow.
And I would say, I will go a little further. He was done the day that he started taking steroids. Let's just all be real. Tiger Woods got super buff all of a sudden, and he went rage.
I'm not doing this.
Crazy. I think this is what I think. Like, your body is starting to break in a way that didn't make any sense. I really think that there's something performance enhancing behind some of this.
It's like physics mean, like, if you look at his, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to sit on this podcast and defend Tiger Woods against Jason Smith. Because I know that's what you want to say. You're just trying to bait me?
No,
hold on, time out. When I put the sunglasses on, I go heel Palmer. I go bad guy Palmer, and I let the world know I'm going heel.
Yeah.
You just slip in a quick heel turn. You're like 2011 Chris Jericho. Just heel turn for no reason. You're going evil here for no reason.
Even without my performance-enhancing drugs theory, what we can say, though, is it's obvious that and maybe it's just age, and I don't think it's just age. I think there's something else going on. But if it is just age, it's obvious that his body is breaking down. His body can't do what it used to do. He's going to continue to push it to get into the Ryder Cup for some reason, which he's never – name a Ryder Cup that Tiger Woods has ever played has ever been anything other than a liability for the U.S. Tiger Woods is terrible at the Ryder Cup. He's been bad at the Ryder Cup since the first Ryder Cup he played.
The only time I care about the Ryder Cup is when I hear the Ryder Cup who should be in debates. Once the team has said, I stop watching. I don't care.
I have no idea. I love the Ryder Cup because it's like golf. It's like college football golf or something. Like, people go crazy at the Ryder Cup, and it's a lot of fun to watch to me. But, like, Tiger Woods has been terrible at the Ryder Cup always. I think Tiger Woods has one Jack Nicklaus old guy major left in him. I think Tiger Woods will win one more. The problem is, to be considered without a doubt the greatest golfer of all time, he has to win 5 more, and that's just not going to happen.
I disagree on the second part. I agree on the first part. I think we're going to get at least one more major out of him. Second part, the era he did it in, and the span he did it in, the level of dominance, where he was the #1 player on tour last year. Like, for what it's worth, he's still not totally done. So I'm not willing to say he's not the best golfer ever, mostly because I lived in the era, and that's kind of how we work as people. Thanks for joining us on this week's Dude You Podcast Weekly Hangover. We're here every Saturday morning for at least the next 2 Saturdays, talking whatever I want to talk about. If you're not going to make next Saturday, I implore you to make the last Hangover of the year, because it's going to be done very differently. There may not be any sports talk. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I will leave you guys with my favorite sports story of the week. Apparently, Darryl Dawkins, he of the NBA nickname Chocolate Thunder, claims that Stevie Wonder gave him the name Chocolate Thunder. If you see me tweet before, you know it's headed. How did Stevie Wonder know how chocolate Darryl Dawkins was? That's because Stevie ain't blind. Tune in next week. We'll be hearing it. Stevie ain't blind. You all know it. It's true. Why are you trying to deny this man's sight? Anyway, we'll be back next week, noon, podcast. See you guys later. DudeYouCrazy.net.